What is up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? We're ending the week on a downward note as prices are continuing to slip, but there is some big news, and this is not fake news. This isn't just opinion news. We got some stories happening today and over the last couple of days that are marking that Bitcoin will have a great bull market. Those of you who are concerned or asking the question, is the bull market over? You're going to want to listen to the entire episode. We have so many reasons to continually be bullish on Bitcoin, even if price dips just a little bit further. We will explain to you why. Make sure you stick around for the whole thing. This is the Investing Bros. Let's get it.
Heck yeah. We're doing it.
All right. As normal, everybody. I think there's a little bit of a lag for me, T-shirt. I don't know why. Maybe the internet's good. Make sure everybody go and smash the like button. Hit subscribe if you already. If you already subscribed, hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, you don't have to hit. We don't want to put that on you too soon, right? It does help us. YouTube likes it when you guys smash like and hit subscribe. We do have to give away $100 in this video because we've forgotten for the last 3 days in a row that every time we gain a new 1,000 subscribers, we give money away. So if you want to maybe win the next $100, hit subscribe. That's going to be pretty cool for you. But watch the whole episode before you make that hard, life-changing decision of touching a button called subscribe on the Investing Bros channel. We got a lot to break down for you guys. We're going to take a look at the charts, take a look at the news. But before we get there, T-Shroom, how are you feeling today? How are you doing?
Well, Tim, I'm feeling better than I deserve. I really am. Good. And, it's not every day that I feel better than I deserve, but I do have a quote for us. The most important thing in the world is family and love. And also, earlier in the 9 a.m. stream, Fade and Tradfi said, don't fade that full moon, baby. Which one do you like better there? What's the better quote?
I like the most important thing in the world is family and love. You guys know I have a beautiful family that I love crypto, but honestly, to me, crypto is just an ends to the means of taking care of that family. And I think it's one of the greatest ways to do it. So I love that quote for sure. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. Last night, before we get into crypto too far, T-Shroom, did you just stay up in high anticipation of who your favorite NFL football team would draft in round 1 of the 2024 draft?
The only reason why I know what you're talking about, Tim, is because there's a group chat that every year they try to get me to be a part of this fantasy league. And I did it last year, and this year I am so glad I'm not even thinking about doing it. But I love sports.
Yeah, but if you guys enjoy the NFL, American football, post your favorite team. Share my screen real quickly here. This I thought was a funny post. I've seen it multiple places. Don't pay attention to who posted this, but hide your dogs. There's a picture. Dogs in Atlanta seeing Falcons draft a black left-handed quarterback named Michael. This gave me quite the chuckle. In case you guys did not know, Atlanta Falcons a little over 23 years ago, drafted a quarterback by the name of Michael Vick, one of the greatest to ever play. But he did have some situations with dogs that were not so great. So I don't know if you guys know that story. I found it funny. I found the post funny. I also love Michael Vick. I think he did his time, and he also now loves dogs. But,
crazy story. I actually have some friends in Atlanta who are veterinarians, and they own their own veterinary clinic. And they tell me that they have very expensive dogs that are brought in, and they're not fighting dogs. They don't work with anybody who clearly is using their dogs for fighting, but they're all the same species. All the species probably isn't the right word. The same breed. Yeah. And whatever it is about Atlanta, they love their fighting dogs, even if they're not actually fighting them. So.
What's crazy is Michael Vick didn't have any fighting dogs in the city of Atlanta. It was somewhere in North Carolina or something. Or maybe it was back in Virginia. I don't know. It wasn't in the city. But we're not here to talk about Michael Vick and dogs. I just thought the post was funny. We are here to talk about cryptos and currencies. And in this case, cryptocurrencies. Let's go ahead and check in with CoinMarketCap, see what is popping today, T-Shroom. Back in the red. Back in the red for a lot of coins. If you're going to share my screen. Oh, there we go. Boom. Bitcoin down 1% in the last 24 hours. Ethereum only down 0.7, but we are seeing some bigger losses here in other coins. BNB down pretty much 2%. Solana 2.6. Made that video last night. Some of you guys might have watched it. Some of you might not. I told you guys that the dip is probably not over for Solana. The truth is that probably applies to almost every altcoin out there. We'll look at charts, but almost everything is still calling for lower price action to come. We'll check in there, but Solana down 2%, XRP down 1%, Doge 1, Ton 1, Cardano 1.5. So as a whole, top 10, we got Solana as the biggest losers. Now, before we go too much further, I'm interested what you guys think about this. I saw a post earlier today from somebody who's not a Cardano supporter, and that's fine. I love everybody, even if you don't love Cardano. I love Cardano. But they made an interesting prediction, and part of it has come true now. Shiba Inu, he must have said this before it passed Avalanche. Someone made a prediction that Shiba Inu would pass both Avalanche and Cardano here very, very soon. Well, he's already half right. What do you guys think? It only has about 1.3 or 1.6 billion dollars of market cap to get to the same level as Cardano. Do you guys think Shiba Inu passes Cardano? Put a 1 in chat if you think yes. Put a 2 in chat if you think no. But that is an interesting thought I had right there. Or a thought I saw earlier. Shout out to Crypto Sec Guy, one of our favorite trolls here in the community, and also an OG, who's a friend of me of the channel. Loves giving me our time. Said hashtag y'all doing cousins dirty. He is referencing the fact that when I say we, I just mean the city of Atlanta. I'm not necessarily a Falcons fan. We just signed Kirk Cousins for a massive deal as a quarterback, and then we draft a new one. Seems like a disrespectful move to Kirk. You can believe what you want to believe. Let's go back to cryptocurrency. Take a look at the biggest gainers, biggest losers. Interesting what you guys think about Shiba Inu. And should we? I mean, we never really do videos about meme coins. Would you guys like to see me do upload videos, not just talking about the live stream, but upload videos discussing some of the meme coins like Doge and Sheeb and Pepe and Bonk and all these others? We don't really address it that much, but would you guys want to see TA? I'll do it if you guys say yes. Neo is our biggest gainer of the day, up 6.5%, give or take. BitTorrent 4.5%. Litecoin, look at Litecoin, up 4% today. Good for them. Ethereum Classic, 8Coin, Maker, Flare, Tron. As a whole, I don't think there's any. I mean, none of these coins. Maybe Near sleeps in. None of our portfolio coins. T-shirt made it in the big winners today. So our portfolio not necessarily up. Let's take a look at the biggest losers. This is where we will see some of the coins in our list. Pendle, we do like Pendle here. We also like Wormhole. Both of those big losers. Of course, Wormhole was the biggest gainer yesterday. So whenever you're the biggest gainer, you always got to think that potentially it could have a big red day following. Say as well. Bonk, Dog with Hat. There's two of our meme coins coming into some of the biggest losers. Ronin, Conflux, Ondo. Ooh, not Ondo. Singularity Net, Fetch, soon to be ASI, the two of them with Ocean Protocol. So it wasn't the biggest swinging of the pendulum as we've seen in recent days. Biggest gainer only up 6%, biggest loser only 9%. We've definitely seen in recent days numbers like 40%, 50% of big gains and losses. So not a very volatile day here in the crypto space. We're going to take a quick look at charts here. We will look at Bitcoin and others, but it's an interesting day where if we zoom in here, Bitcoin, for the most part, like we said, in the last 24 hours is down. You kind of see we're going sideways in the last couple of 4-hour candles. But the S&P 500 not necessarily on track with Bitcoin. We're going to start doing this a lot more, taking a look at what the stock market is looking like and then comparing to crypto. But in reality, we're sitting here. I think even Caleb Franzen posted on Twitter, don't look now, but the S&P is setting in higher highs and higher lows here, everybody. So definitely something to keep an eye on over the next little bit. I told you guys the other day, it kind of had gotten as low as it really needed to on the daily chart. The S&P hit the take profit of the recent sell order. Now we're flashing today a buy order on the daily chart. Can we get above this breaking block right here, this pink breaking block? That would be majorly bullish. For a moment, this should be considered resistance. There's a chance at the same level we're seeing the 4-hour chart say that's resistance as well. But if you see price pop up and cancel out this breaker block, look for the S&P 500 to make a move, not just back up, but start to make a move towards new all-time highs. that should, in theory, be good for cryptocurrency. And there's some news that we're going to talk about that crypto has some good news as well. We'll look at the charts. The charts are kind of staying bearish. But I was on Paul Barron's show today, and we kind of there's some weird stuff going on in the stock market, Teach Room, because Meta beat their expected numbers, and yet they here 2 days ago fell down to the downside. Now they've hit past their take profit. They're hitting on support. I think Meta is actually, if you guys are looking for an entry on Meta, I mean, it's already near all-time high, but I think price goes to the upside here. But it's very interesting. Remember, T-Shroom, Tesla missed their numbers and went to the upside and looked like they could still make a move up above 200 again. And then Meta, they hit their numbers and then, did even better, and they take a little bit of a dip. Before we go into crypto too much, any thoughts, T-Shroom? I know you pay attention to those report numbers a lot closer than I do. You pay attention to price action of the stock market a lot more. It's interesting to see the chaos over there, but what is your thoughts today looking at some of the stock market movements?
Yeah, I mean, I think the quote from Warren Buffett comes to mind, which is, in the short term, the stock market is a casino, right? In the long term, the stock market is a scale of value. And so, when it comes to any asset, and just definitely not on the stock side exclusively, it's on both sides. All assets, they can be gamed in the short term very easily. When it comes to Facebook being down on good news and Meta and Tesla being up on bad news, it really has a lot to do more with those conference calls and what the CEOs were promising and what they were projecting for earnings for the coming quarter. But ultimately, I think Tesla is looking more and more like a buy to me, whereas Meta, as you saw, is kind of coming off of its all-time highs. It's not necessarily the worst buy because AI, they're an AI play, but and they also have strong revenues from advertising. But Zuckerberg kind of painted a picture where Meta may not be the best bang for your buck if you're looking for more returns and if you're looking for something undervalued. So that's kind of the way that I think that the stock market is, but it could go. It could keep going either way in these illogical directions until it can't, and then the market and the math come back in and snap back, and that's where you don't want to be believing lies.
Well, I'll tell you, we'll look at another chart again. We're going to jump into Bitcoin and crypto here in a second. But again, we're going to take a look at this is going to be a new normal thing. Tell us if you dislike this, but I think this will actually be very helpful to take a look at the normal markets. The last chart we have to look at before we get into crypto charts is the Dixie. Eric Wallen even in chat saying, let's take a look at the Dixie. This is another reason why we could see not only the S&P 500 and stocks go to the upside, but crypto as well. The Dixie chart, the dollar index, bullish on the day, but you guys can see here on the daily chart, we're going to be running into some resistance here very, very soon. If I'm turning off Lux Algo, which shout out to Lux Algo, the sponsor of the channel, the best trading indicator out there if you're looking to make more money in trading, we're running into a level of resistance, a falling level of resistance that also has a fat order block coming in here, as well as the take profit on the daily charts, most recent buy order right here. So I'm going to expect T-Shroom. Let's just go ahead and kind of set the floor right here. I think the Dixie does climb a little bit and comes maybe up here to 106. I think that does correspond with crypto continuing a downward movement during the same time span. I don't know if it's going to take 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, maybe a week or two. There's definitely time it could happen, but I do think that the 106 happens. I think the crypto goes down a little bit more, but then we do see the Dixie start to turn and reject right here. It's come back down to the downside, and that should be bullish for crypto. Could be a rebound coming for Bitcoin and some of your favorite altcoins. Let's take a look at Bitcoin and check in on what is happening here. Again, we're watching on the daily chart. We're still seeing potential signs that after this little bounce right here, we came up close to our smart show concept. We're still seeing the potential for a move back down as low as 58,000, maybe even down here towards 55. Let's take a look at the 4-hour chart and see what it is saying here. We do have a sell order on the 4-hour chart. We rejected, just like we talked about yesterday, the pink breaker block. I brought this to you guys' attention yesterday. We rejected on it shortly after the show. We're moving back down. This current 4-hour chart is bullish, But I think it's a pretty good chance we end up seeing the $61,000 level down to, I think 60,000 is in play. We have a nice order block down here. It's a double bottom of price action. We just saw back on the 17th. We have our take profit symbol saying that our oscillators are a little bit of a mixed bag, but you are seeing here MACD kind of an indecision place, but still heading down. We've rejected more recently on the RSI's 50 line. And then, of course, the Lux Algo oscillator. We have not a trifecta necessarily, but definitely a dual bearish indicator here with bad money flow and negative money flow, rather. And we have bearish momentum coming on the 4-hour chart. So keep an eye on Bitcoin price levels, again, making a move back down towards 60,000, something that, we try to look at regularly. It's not always pertinent, but you're looking at Bitcoin here, definitely some heavy liquidity at 62,500. So watch that area. But you see the pocket kind of comes down definitely to 60. And then you can make an argument potentially for 57, 56,000 and just make it through all of this junk, all these longs right here that have been in play now for a minute. Get them out of the way, and then we have a fresh rally. We do have some heavy liquidity back up towards 67,500. When you go to longer time frames, there's still a lot of liquidity, both I think to the upside and downside here for Bitcoin. But I think there's a decent case that you have more to the upside. Another reason to be very bullish. We have some interesting stuff happening back at all-time high, but potentially, again, why we've been saying 55,000? Because there are a decent amount of longs that could be liquidated that come in here, and then this forces a fake out situation that creates a short squeeze where the bears feel confident, but the traders flip on them and start increasing the price to the upside. That is what I think is going to be happening on Bitcoin. But again, keep an eye on next couple of days. 60,000 could be in play. And if we see increased volume, we might see this sooner than later, but I still think the next couple of weeks or month or so, we're probably seeing price level back down to 55. I've seen increased analyst T-Shrooms say 51, $50,000 area. I'm kind of the belief if we lose 55, decent chance that we end up getting down to 47, 48, retesting that former resistance level from way back in January. But I'm not ready to say with a lot of conviction that has to happen. Let's watch what happens around 55 before we freak out and try to predict any lower.
It's interesting you say that, Tim, because on the 9 a.m. stream this morning, Investing Bros goes live at 9 a.m.? Absolutely we do. Yeah. Subscribe right now to get all the latest morning and afternoon news in crypto. And I was showing the bros that out here on the weekly chart, let's get rid of some of this craziness here. You can see that the midline of the Bollinger Band lines up with 55. Now, by the time we were to come down, realistically, kind of given the pace that we're at right now, if we were to come down, it would probably be more like around 50, so 60, right? Which we've already been there. So if it is going to be a Bollinger Band play, doesn't that look ugly? Come on, Tay, clean it up. Clean it up, T-Shroom. There we go. If we do end up coming down and touching the midline of that Bollinger Band, that 20-day moving average for the weekly, then more than likely, it would be a decent support. But if we were to drop down to it right now, we would go all the way down to 55. So kind of in line with some of the lower levels predictions that you're making there.
Yeah, I think that's good. Another point I want to make here on Bitcoin before we move on, this was actually brought to my attention. If you guys are not subscribed to Stocks with Josh, go subscribe to him. I know there's a lot of people in the community probably watching right now that found us through Stocks with Josh. Shout out to you guys. But he made a great observation the other day that I think people should pay attention to. And what we're seeing happen right now is another reason to be bullish. Take a look at what happens here during bull markets. You have these time periods where price, moves sideways, kind of correlates. But take a look at bullish moves. They kind of correlate, go sideways or downward, and then move to the upside. You see it definitely right in here back in January 2021. You see it right here, right here. It keeps going upside. But then all of a sudden, take a look here. You start to see when you see the price slow down but move slowly to the upside in a rising channel, that's when you start to see the negative. So this price dips, we consolidate up to the right, dips. Now we consolidate downward, move to the upside. This is downward action to the upside. Of course, during bear markets, you see this consolidation to the upside, fall, upside fall, upside fall. Well, take a look at this is what's happening right now. We've seen this several times. Consolidation to downside rally, consolidation to downside rally. And what do you call this right here? We've been tracking this falling channel right here. that again, historically, we're looking at this and saying this should be bullish. It's when we're slowly but surely trickling and setting new highs in a channel moving up that we should probably start to worry about the top coming in. So another reason to be bullish about Bitcoin, this downward consolidation, this descending trading channel historically is a sign of more bullishness coming. This is just the pause button. This is just the let's stop and take a breath bull market, and then we'll resume here a little bit later. Now, again, we're gonna go back. Someone said, "Is Bear Tim back?" Eric, I'm not Bear Tim. I'm just realistic Tim, and sometimes short-term movements do require bearish movements, right?
Well, you're not Bear Tim. You got plenty of clothes on. We're having fun.
We're having fun. Thank you for that t-shirt. We come here, we take a look at a lot of altcoins. Again, Solana, kind of same thing we're looking at with Bitcoin. It does look like a double bottom is in play. These prices we were just at back on the 17th, back down here around 130 or lower, I think are definitely in play. I go to the daily chart, and it technically says, hey, watch out for that 120 to come back in here as well. You're seeing that on Solana. You're seeing this. Let's see. Chainlink actually is bullish right now. We already did hit our take profit, but we're finding support on our smart trail concept. So potentially look for Chainlink to have a little bounce here. But other coins, Cardano, we're definitely looking at take profit and order block coming in back down to where 40 cents, give or take 43 or 40 cents is definitely in play. Ethereum is definitely calling for maybe even a little bit lower. You know, this is a chart that's in a more aggressive descending trading channel. On Paul Barron's show earlier, I talked about a revisit back down to 28.70, but there's also a decent chance we get to about 27 again, touching this yellow line. But this long term should be bullish. But as a whole, my point here, walking away with, I'm not going to get into all the oscillators and everything else. I'm going to stick with just showing you the indicators for now, because a lot of the space is looking like it's in unison. We're going to probably retest and bounce back off at least double bottoms on lows we just saw a couple of days ago. And some of the altcoins, I would not be surprised to go to new all-time lows. Not all-time lows. I don't know why I said that.
Why did you say that, Tim?
New lows for this pullback. We're not going to new lows for the bear market and going back down to crazy levels. But I do think some altcoins, as Bitcoin mostly still trades sideways and dips a little bit more, I think altcoins potentially still have the chance to set some lower lows in this trend. And all of that brings us back to this chart right here, our good old Bitcoin dominance chart, where, yes, we have a ascending triangle. And yes, this is very bullish. But if we go all the way to the weekly, let's actually go out here. Not a single candle closed above this 54.17 until just a couple of weeks ago, the first week of April. I think what we're doing right now is doing a classic bullish retest where price action comes back to former resistance, does touch it, and then moves to the upside, where the breakout here for this dominance chart is coming back up. I grabbed the wrong button, so forgive me. There we go. This dominance chart does say the price prediction, or the chart should make it back up here to where it's pretty much perfect, right there to 60%. I still think that's in play. And a movement where both Bitcoin goes sideways and altcoins go down is part of the reason why I think that the dominance will continue to shoot to the upside. But as I said, we have some news we're going to get into, because you might be tuning in here and saying, all right, I looked at the title and Tim and T-Shroom brought me in here saying that Bitcoin has some good news. Like there's stuff that's happening that's very bullish for Bitcoin. Why is Tim talking about potential downward price action? The charting I just did for you is shorter term, meaning days or weeks. But we do have news hitting us this week. Multiple stories that are talking about the long-term bullish effects, not just days or week talk. That's, again, that can change day in and day out. We're talking about the next couple of months, the next year and a half, do have some massive catalysts. And honestly, it's not just this bull market that I think this news will affect. What we're about to talk about is long-term, next 15, 20, 30 years of Bitcoin bullish price action because of this information. You don't want to miss it. But before we get into the news, we do want to thank Lux Algo for sponsoring our charts. Again, if you want to do more trading, you love watching me break down the charts. When you purchase Lux Algo, you don't just get the best trading indicator. You also will get access into our VIP trading group where I post my daily thoughts. I give feedback to our traders. You guys can post your trades, your portfolios. I will help coach you through what you should be looking at to improve in your investments. I'm not here to give financial advice, just to help give trading advice and money advice as far as how to think. If that's something you want, go get Lux Algo, get in trading, and you can be a part of our VIP group. Smash the like button, everybody, if you're enjoying the episode so far. T-Shroom, let's get into those hard-hitting stories of why people should be bullish on Bitcoin long-term, even if they weren't before today.
All right, Tim. Well, there's two major stories, and then there's a third that we're going to be introducing here that is very bullish. So I want to get into first, we're going to go into the macroeconomic lesson and learn about bonds a little bit here, and there's some big bullish news coming, right? So this is the 10-year bond yield rate, right? So right now, 4.6 on the 10 years. It's not too bad, right? That's a fixed rate of income. You go buy bonds right now at the 10-year, you can get it for 4.67. That is how much you will get annually on however quantity of bonds you get, right? We get that, okay? Why does this exist? Why are there yields on bonds? Because they help the bond market, and they help the government, and they help economists get a gauge of overall liquidity that wants to flow in and out of risk assets like Walmart, like Microsoft, like Bitcoin, okay? So right now, you can say that these rates are somewhat elevated, meaning that you can actually have a pretty competitive rate of fixed return compared to the historic levels. So if we go out to the monthly chart, you can see they've been all over the place, but since about 2012, you haven't really been able to get fixed rates anything north of 3%, right? So is it even really worth buying a bond at that point? Yeah, but now that they're above 3% and even getting into 4%, and on the 3-month and the 6-month, you can even get north of 5%. A lot of old money, a lot of smart money has just parked wealth in bonds. Okay. And so what has been happening is that the U.S. government, via the Treasury Department, has been issuing new bonds, right? And what do we know about scarcity? When there's a new issuance of something, the scarcity goes down. And now this is where it gets a little tricky, but if you can understand this, then you have unlocked the bond market for your own intelligence and your own investing and trading. As new issuance comes in to the market in the bond market, what happens to the yields? The yield actually goes up because the bonds are less scarce and therefore less valuable. So the bond rate has to go up in order to incentivize people to even buy the bonds in the first place. Now, it's not like the government is sitting there, they can have their finger on the rate itself, right? That's how the market works. But more bonds equals higher rates. Well, here is the headline we're getting from CoinDesk. The key to reviving Bitcoin's bull run is the U.S. Treasury refunding announcement. And I'll make it short. This is the woman. She doesn't just stand in front of signs that say buy Bitcoin. She also is responsible for the U.S. Treasury Department. And there's been going to be a pretty big announcement on May 1st that the debt issuance plan impacts market through the yield channel. Higher bond issuance or supply pushes down bond prices and lifts yield, as I just explained. The so-called risk-free rate, disincentivizing risk-taking in financial markets. Reducing issuance has the opposite effect. Now, this is what the market is predicting. For the first time, there could actually be, not the first time ever, but in the period since 2020, there could be the beginning of a drastic reduction in issuances of new bonds and selling of new bonds by the Treasury. Okay, that's a lot. But what does that basically mean? May 1st is a date that if we get the announcement that we want from Janet Yellen, this could signal not only to the Bitcoin markets, not to just crypto, but to all risk assets, that there is going to be an increased incentive for investors to rotate back into risk, right? Mm-hmm. Because this yield will start to come down and be less attractive as what? As less supply of bonds is added into the market, right? And as this rate becomes less attractive, more and more investors, old money, smart money, is looking at those yields and saying, Microsoft is actually doing better than that with the dividends. Eli Lilly, I could get back into some Walmart. I think that's going to go up. And then, some percentage of those investors who are thinking about that rotation, they're going to say, oh, yeah, and my guy over at Fidelity and BlackRock, they won't shut up about this Bitcoin thing. And my nephew's kind of into it. And you see where this goes. bada bing, bada boom, Bitcoin price go up. That's the hope. It is contingent upon a May 1st announcement. May 1st, also FOMC day. So it's going to be volatile, not necessarily to the upside immediately. We just saw the shenanigans in the stock market with Tesla going up when it missed, double missed on its earnings, and we saw the shenanigans with Facebook, Meta going down when it was a double beat or a beat. I don't know if it was a double beat, but so don't necessarily expect risk markets to immediately react. And in fact, you could kind of anticipate maybe some manipulation by the big boys to try and spook the market or excite the market, depending on what the outcomes are from both the FOMC and from the U.S. Treasury Department. Baby, it is a macro season. We are moving into it. May is macro. They say sell in May and walk away, but if things go well here, I mean, if the Fed cuts and Janet Yellen says, "Yeah, we're not doing any more bonds," right? Or they make the drastic reduction in new bond issuances and selling, then that could be very, very bullish for the risk markets. And that's the long and short of the exciting news. Now, there's more, but Tim, I want to gauge your reaction here on these bond market dynamics and how they may affect risk on assets. What do you think? Do you think it's overblown here? Or do you think there's really something here?
No, I think, was it Caleb that kind of references her? I feel like I just had this conversation the other day where what you're seeing is very wealthy people who understand you don't just keep your wealth in the US dollar. They understand inflation better than most of us. You don't do that. You don't just leave your money in US dollars. So a lot of them are looking at stocks and they're looking at risky assets and they're looking at Bitcoin and they're saying, all right, this is interesting. However, we're talking about people with millions of dollars. We're not talking about like just 5 figures or just 6 figures or even just 7 figures. We're talking about people with like high 7, 8 figures of wealth, and they want to protect / make more money on that. Well, Bitcoin is somewhat volatile. It does have its ups and downs. That is off-putting to some people, but you see the bonds percentage go high and you're like, oh, that's just so safe. Like that's a very safe place to store my money. Right. Mm-hmm. So it's very encouraging to them as T-Shoes and break it down. It's very encouraging them to say, you know what? Could I potentially make more money in Bitcoin? Maybe, but that's just too good of a deal to have that high of a number. I'll just hold my money in bonds. The government's going to pay, give me those dividends and stuff. I'm good there. But now that those numbers are coming down, it's like, all right, this is not a good place to keep my money. Now I'm more willing to move it into the risky assets. Again, I don't want to hold in the US dollars. That's just going to continue to inflate and be less valuable. They want it somewhere where it can make more money. So when these bonds are really high, that's safe gains. And when they're really low, they get more risky, why we call it risk on assets. And they go into the likes of commodities, Bitcoin, gold, stock market moves. So this is why this is so bullish. I hope people break that down. Mm-hmm. I wanted to address T-Shroom before we move on to the next story.
And could be bullish. It's still contingent upon a decision. The Janet Yellen could come out and say, "Oh yeah, never mind." But election year, also, and who's she batting for? Her current administration, her boss, Big Daddy Joe, right? And just to cliff note that in an election year, historically in the United States, that's usually when a lot of liquidity gets pumped into the market. It goes to the campaign ads, just these two big economic machines of campaign finance going at each other, spewing money into the economy, into ad agencies and everything else. That money goes places. It goes to Jimmy John's lunches. It goes to new products from Walmart and expansion of a new pool in your neighborhood. That money gets into the real economy, and that can cause growth, which is probably why we haven't seen the market sell off those low GDP numbers. Tim, what you got in the charts?
Yeah, so this sentence, sell in May and walk away. I am not a fan of this sentence. I've heard it used by a lot of people. I've heard it used by very intelligent people. But I just want to put on our thinking caps for a second before you just make a financial decision based off of a cool rhyme, like sell in May and walk away. Let's look at the last couple of Mays, right? So we're going to go back to 2023 right here. May was a bearish month. We kind of opened here at 300. We closed the whole month right here about 27. So a negative 2,000. Not a big deal, but that was a bearish month. At this point, even though we didn't think even though we thought the bottom was in, this wasn't the biggest bull market move just yet. I'm not too worried about that. Of course, during the bear market right here, we had a nice blue month where we opened up around 38,000 or so. We closed, we had a wick way down to 25, but we closed here at 32. Definitely a bearish month. But you go back even further here. Again, we did have this is the biggest one that probably caused people to say, oh, sell in May, walk away. And to be fair, that means the last 3 Mays have all been bearish. I will concede that. This is the biggest one here in May of 2021. But now, if you're not just counting the last 3 years, so you shouldn't just make analysis based off of 3 years of action like that. Let's go back and take a look at Mays before that. 2021, 2022, and 2023 were all bearish. May of 2020, bullish. Was it super bullish? Not really. Only went from about 8,500 to about 93, but bullish May. That if you had sold and walked away, you would have sold right before price started going to the upside, right? Terrible thought right there. Let's go back to 2019. If you had sold in May and walked away, you wouldn't have gotten a good opportunity to buy back in until COVID. Much later. May was a massive bullish month right here. You come, of course, back into 2018. May was a bearish month. Let's go back to 2017. May was a very bullish month. So I'm not saying that May has to be bullish, which there's actually a decent chance May goes sideways / slightly downwards, depending on how things play out. But anyone who's heard the expression sell in May and walk away, please don't do that. When it gets to May, look at the charts and look at the news and make an informed decision. Don't trade based off of the name of the month. I don't think that works out well for anyone or anything that's not consistent. So just wanted to dispel that kind of
Bud.
Idiocy.
And I'll do you one better here, Tim.
Can I say?
It's not even true in the stock market. According to LPL research, if you look going back to 2011, this has been from May to October on average has gained 2%. So it's not crazy good, but that's
crazy,
also
but it's not sell and walk away.
Yeah, it's the S&P, and it's only a chunk of the year. It's not the whole year. 7% on average from November to April. So November to April does better, right? But this period is not a loss. So if you go back and you look, 2011 that was a loss, and then that was the only loss other than 2015. Everything else you were gaining, and if you took it out in 2013, you missed out on 10%. This is a stock market. 2014, you missed out on 7%.
Huge.
Shoot ahead. 2017, 8%. 2020, 12%.
12%. Yeah.
Now, what's kind of crazy is that there's not a pullback here from the pandemic. I guess if you were in during
it probably
May to
pulled
October.
back. Yeah, it pulled back in March, but it started recovering.
That's right.
In
right.
April, May area. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So absolutely, sell in May, go away is an old trope that you will continue to hear on if you watch CNBC and Bloomberg, right? But how do you think the manipulators manipulate the market? Do you think that they don't use the media and old tropes that may or may not be true anymore? I think you can read in between the lines, behind the lines, in front of the lines, look at the shadow of the lines, and make some conclusions for yourself.
And just to be clear, just so you guys know, they didn't just start using the media. They've been using the media for hundreds of years. I think that it's right now where we are in a world of digital information where we can know anything at the touch of a button. This is the easiest time in history to manipulate price with the media. But they used the media back when the media was inconvenient to manipulate prices. How much better do they do it now? I always look for the stories. I tell people this time and time again, but I think it's time to remind people. When you read a story, you need to ask the question, is this story bullish or bearish, right? So that you just need to know, are we overwhelmingly bullish or bearish? Is this story factual and have real-world application? For example, we're talking right now about Janet Yellen on May 1st having the ability potentially to make a decision to give back, to cut those rates of those bonds. That's not an opinion. That's an actual thing that very well could happen. There's reasons that it would happen, and it has real-world application as to where price should go. But there's other stories like JP Morgan now predicting Bitcoin to have further downside after the halving. JP Morgan makes new price prediction for the top of the bull market. Goldman Sachs believes that none of these are facts. They're opinions being talked about. And so you got to sort through stories and say, all right, is this a bullish story that's factual? This should have bullish consequences. Is this a bearish story that's factual? This should have bearish situations. But when you see a flood of bullish articles about people's opinions, the top 5 coins that will rally in May, be a little skeptical. Be a little bit of a contrarian that says, you know what? A lot of times these types of articles with opinions that are telling me to buy are trying to get me to be exit liquidity for them. And then at the opposite, sometimes you see a plethora of stories of opinions of people saying, this is a really bad spot for the market. You need to sell before a big crash comes. Well, do you just want me to sell my assets to you because you want to buy this great dip and then make wealth on me? That's how you got to think. They've been doing that for hundreds of years, and now they have access to you day in and day out every single hour to pump you whatever hopium or FUD they want to get to you to make you do the opposite, to convince you to do the opposite of what you really should be doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's a great transition into our next 2 stories. Starting with this headline here, IMF says Bitcoin could reshape global finance. Now, you may have seen some information about this throughout the month of April, but we wanted to bring you a little bit of insight, and we've had some time to kind of digest it. The agency noted that the asset has the potential, Bitcoin has the potential to grant financial autonomy to countries that are otherwise struggling with economic circumstances. In the report, it noted the emerging relevance of the asset. So overall, this is a huge, what's important here is not so much does the IMF really understand Bitcoin, and are they going to start selling Bitcoin like BlackRock and Fidelity are? No, that is not what's happening here. But what they're doing is turning the corner on being very bearish, right, and calling out countries like El Salvador to change some of their tooling for Bitcoin as a legal tender. And ultimately, this is pretty bullish, right? We'd have to say that clearly there's been either a change of mind or a change in some roles, kind of in the brain trust over at International Monetary Fund. And you don't work at the International Monetary Fund unless you are, very well educated. Educated in air quotes there, because you can make the argument that they're a little more. I mean, yeah. So overall, this has been a nice turn in rhetoric coming from the International Monetary Fund towards Bitcoin. Tim, has it have you jumping for joy?
Yeah, so the reason why this one's kind of interesting is because the IMF has historically gone against Bitcoin.
Right.
We know that they gave El Salvador a lot of grief
right.
for their transition to Bitcoin. But there's a couple things playing into this one that I think are interesting. First of all, they detail in the article, they talk about BRICS, and they talk about economies that are struggling in other countries. And this is one that I'm like, the reason I think this is bullish is because I think that the IMF is kind of coming around and saying, you know what, if all the economies crash and burn and die, or their struggle, they're not going to want to use us anymore. They're not going to listen to us. They're not going to have anything to do with us. So we actually are seeing El Salvador do well and saying, oh, this could work for other countries. Also, those BRICS nations, for example, I've told you guys this before. If the greatest threat to the US dollar right now is not, I mean, inflation is big, but it's not even inflation in and of itself. The greatest threat to the US dollar is the BRICS nations forming alliances to get around and never use US dollar for trade ever again. That's going to be absolutely detrimental to the US dollar. How are they going to do that? Well, their currencies suck, so they can't do it with their currencies. The US dollar is still, to this day, the greatest fiat currency in the world. So you're not going to find another fiat currency to kill the U.S. power on monetary systems with fiat. You're going to have to go blockchain technology. You're going to have to incorporate Bitcoin. You're going to have to incorporate, dare I say, XRP, Chainlink. Choose your altcoin, right? They're going to use crypto to tear apart the dollar. So how does America not only keep its national power, but even still, potentially allow the U.S. dollar and continue to let trade happen in terms of how many dollars for that, right? We'll still use that language. America needs to incorporate crypto. If the BRICS nations are going to take their crap fiat and back it with crypto to get some stabilization, imagine how powerful it would be if America did the same. Now, this is one of the reasons why I think that anyone who's against it, cough, cough, Elizabeth Warren, is a complete idiot and is working in the destruction of the United States power, especially monetarily. But ultimately, the greatest weapon that this world could have is if every country uses cryptocurrency, strong backed cryptocurrency, decentralized cryptocurrency, where they have to play by the same rules you and I play with on an everyday basis. Do I have enough money? Am I overextended on my credit? They have to make wise financial decisions. It will cause the world to once again become responsible, and you will not see these historically devastating economic crashes, because we will actually have governments with balance sheets, with proper spending, who do not borrow more than they can pay back, and ultimately the wealth is able to actually trickle down. I know that's been a big talk recently. Joe Biden keeps saying it because he says it doesn't work. The trickle down economics. I'm not going to get into the
there's a
conversation
term I
of it
haven't
works
heard in a
or not,
while.
but it's all over the news here recently. Trickle down economics, I've heard, I feel like 1,000 times in the last 2 weeks. Well, guess what? Trickle down economics, whether you think it has worked or not with fiat currency, will work with cryptocurrency. When there is stable wealth up top and there's rules to play by with wealth, and everyone plays by those rules, that allows wealth to trickle down to lower classes and allows the people at the lower classes to make something of their life and actually get ahead and get upper into higher echelons of wealth. That is what crypto is all about. So I think that this story kind of highlights the IMF is realizing, if we want to stay relevant and if we want the US dollar to stay relevant, because let's just all get out from under any rock we might be under, the IMF serves the power of the dollar. That's what they do. They are realizing we are lost unless Bitcoin plays a role in this.
Yeah, I think it's interesting for sure. I think it's a little early to be. I think like many things, when a very big organization like this, the International Monetary Fund, which has a lot of strings to pull around the world, I think when they start talking about Bitcoin in the neutral and slightly positive, can be interpreted as positive in one of their major reports, I think what that is to me is signaling that they want to open up that dialogue. And maybe to your point, Tim, as well, is they may want to kind of signal to New York, to Wall Street, to Washington, hey, look, like there are alternatives to the current, fiat system, and we're considering how we can work in that new system as well. And then that can be perceived as a threat, or that can be perceived as a welcome to collaborate in this new world of crypto. But anyway, the IMF, World Bank, Bank of International Settlements, these are huge international banks that do a lot of volume of loans around the world. They have a lot of control, but they have a lot of control in a dying, debt-ridden fiat system. So we'll keep moving along. One much more competitive and much more successful bank is the Bank of New York Mellon. It's actually one of the oldest in the United States. I think it is the oldest. And the Bank of New York Mellon has now reported exposure to Bitcoin ETFs. So we talked about watch what they do, not what they say. First of all, when was the last time you heard, Bank of New York Mellon analyst says XYZ about Bitcoin? They don't do a lot of talking. They do a lot of doing. And what they have just done is, if you look at their, I think it's a 13F form, you can see that they actually have on their books now the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, as well as they also have the iShares Bitcoin Trust, the BlackRock one. So it's not a huge surprise there, but it is very, very interesting, to say the least, to see one of the oldest and most historic banks going ahead and taking the reins, taking the lead. And we've even got a clip here I've got queued up for you guys. This is from Christopher Inks. We've had him on the show a couple of times, but he had on a guest that made some comments on this. Let's take a look, bros. Let's take a listen.
And advisors can begin talking about it in something other than an unsolicited way. So about 2 months ago, I got notes that were passed to me by guys that work with and were a part of the launch of the BlackRock IBIT product. And some legal counsel inside of that particular group said, great conversations with Morgan Stanley. They're hot to trot. They sent out a bunch of due diligence documents to their advisors on April 5th. And the expectation is that mid to late April, it was going to be done. There was a little bit of bureaucratic back and forth inside of the organization itself. And now it looks like it's going to be May. But the point is that it's coming, and it's coming, a month from now is not a long time. And the reality is Morgan Stanley, and I don't know if people know this, but they're like the third largest asset manager in the world. The JP Morgan is bigger than them. Goldman Sachs is bigger than them. But those are the two organizations that they compete with on the playing field of banking and wealth management. It's better than $1.5 trillion inside of their organization. So it's huge. It's absolutely huge. And like you said in your subject, header for this particular stream that we're doing, it's 16,000 advisors. Morgan Stanley is a huge organization. 15 years ago, they bought South.
So cut it there. Yeah, so it's not just Bank BNY Mellon, it's also Morgan Stanley, right? These organizations are lining up to onboard their own investments and their clients' investments onto Bitcoin. But these are slow-moving organizations that have a lot of, like Andrew mentioned, a lot of bureaucracy that takes time to move through and sift through. But eventually, this is, and I was talking about this morning in the 9 a.m. stream, this is kind of the new buy thesis for Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin has had a huge run-up, hitting all-time highs before the halving, and now is, you could make the argument it's kind of languishing above, just below its new all-time highs of $73,000 per coin, right? And so now it's kind of like, hit its head on a new strong resistance, and it's like, well, what do we do now? Just kind of going sideways, waiting for a new thesis to buy, a new reason to buy. And I think a big one is going to be the Hong Kong ETFs going online later this month, and then also these larger banks going ahead and not just saying they're buying Bitcoin, but showing they're buying Bitcoin on their balance sheet, listing it on their 13F forms. So overall, very, very bullish news today. It seems like things are just like boring and kind of crawling along, and Bitcoin's not just going lower, it's going lower slowly. So it's like this slow melt. Guys, this is where Bitcoin does its thing. And look, we could be 2-3 weeks from now kind of in a similar position, just going sideways. But this is where the market gets lulled to sleep. People forget to DCA. We have a wick low down to 55, and then we just shoot up from there, right? Now, I have a little bit of tinfoil hat news here from Cointelegraph.
Well, before you do that, real quick, go back. Just show the screen again of the three guys talking here on Chris's show. Okay. Shout out to Chris Inks. We do love Chris Inks. Got to get him on the channel again. I feel offended. T-shirt.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say something.
It seems like this is a meeting of really cool-looking beards, and I got no invite.
I was going to say one of these three men you are going to age into the exact image of.
Yeah. And I still have hair, believe it or not, everybody. I do. It's up there. I feel like I want to go bald at some point. I think I should go bald here at some point. I feel like I could fit into this group, this little posse, pretty nicely. But I didn't get an invite, Chris.
I think so.
You gotta invite me to these things when it's Beards Analysis. I would love to form a new group called Beards Analysis.
You guys should absolutely go watch this video, though. Seriously, this beautiful thumbnail right here, made by someone you may know. Actually, the title here are 1,600 financial advisors about to unleash the Bitcoin ETFs. Will you be ready? Obviously, I played a clip for you, kind of, a somewhat of a Wall Street insider to some extent, kind of showing, yes, indeed, that, these things happen slowly like icebergs, right? Not rocket ships, but, price go up either over the long term or the short term. I kind of don't care. It's price go up. I'd rather be in an asset that is going up rather than being inflated to oblivion. So definitely go, check it out. It's a great channel, and they get a lot of really good insights, and especially when Tillman Holloway and Andrew Parrish are on, it's always a lot of fun. So go give that a look and give it a listen as well. Well, Tim, all right, let's get into the tinfoil hat a little bit here.
Yeah.
From Cointelegraph, but I'm glad you brought that up, Tim, because our futures
I'm loving the names. We got Beard Bros, Beards of Knowledge.
That's right.
Yeah. Beard Gang. All right, this is official now. You guys have to drop it in chat. If we were to form a group of crypto analysts with epic-looking beards, what would we call that channel? Drop the best one will win the cake. And
I think there is a channel called the Bitcoin Beard, maybe.
Right. That's not it. All right, we're gonna move on. You guys suggest new ones. Tishan, what do we need to pull out a tinfoil hat for?
The moon, Tim. Cointelegraph tweeting out, the full moon is upon us. Will history repeat itself for Bitcoin? So going back, is there no time frame here on this chart? Cointelegraph. There isn't. Okay. Well, I don't know. I would assume this is like a couple of. Well, we can kind of see. There's like a couple of months, right?
Yeah, it's got to. I would imagine. Hold on, we could probably piece that together pretty easily. It's not the daily chart, but I think that's too few of candles to be the weekly chart. Is that going to be like the 3-day chart or something?
It's so weird. I don't know why
they pull up yours again so I can cross compare. I think T-Shroom, it's not the 3 daily chart, and it's not that one either. 5-day? No, I don't know. Is that like what, the 4-day or something?
In any case,
no, actually, no. It's a 3. No, that one was posted this morning, wasn't it?
I don't know. Probably.
This candle's changed. This candle's changed. This is the 3. For anyone who wants to follow along this chart, this is the 3 daily chart.
Thank you, Tim. Yeah, but you can see
the hard hitting, deep analysis and research people subscribe for. T-shirt.
Right.
We know charts.
Cointelegraph making a giant foible here, not including, and I have like a white bar here on our streaming software, but if I take it away, you can see that there is actually no time increment there, which is strange. All right, but you can see that also when there is a full moon, Bitcoin go up. So, Tim, do we need to even look at the charts anymore? We just look at the skies.
Well, it's after the full moon that price goes up, not during, because like the one that happened right there in January, the price is red during those 3 days, but then it goes up after.
Sure.
Same with the one over there. Yeah. So we're saying that after these 3 daily candles go, we should have bullish candles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. I'm going to call. I'm going to say this is all a bunch of phooey, but it's interesting. It's an interesting concept.
Yeah. It's tinfoil hat. It's phooey. I'm going to go through this next headline pretty quickly. Custodia Bank appeals court loss in Fed master account lawsuit. Those of you who understand how this works, you apply from the Federal Reserve for a master account, and that makes you a super bank. And Custodia did not get that, but they're appealing in a lawsuit. So we'll see how that goes. Cool. This one's interesting here, Tim. So this is the largest CBDC in the world, the ECNY. You know what country that's in now?
No, and I'm not going to try to guess based off the picture of the person there because that would be racially profiling. So you're just going to tell me.
It's China.
Okay, that was my guess, but you just don't say the first thing that pops in your head out loud anymore. That's the
I
world
appreciate that. You're very culturally sensitive. Yeah. ECNY mastermind YQ arrested in corporate probe. So it looks like heads are starting to.
I didn't read the article. The article literally says the mastermind behind China's central bank.
There you go. So
reading saves lives, people.
So this is not going to affect your crypto portfolio. So we're not going to take too much time to really flesh this out. But it is an educational moment, right? And so these are all the different countries. You can see. Go to the AtlanticCouncil.org. They have a CBDC tracker. I will say it is not very well up to date, but it is one of the best at tracking the different CBDCs. The 3 that have been launched, we'll linger here for just a moment because it is an educational moment, are in, I believe it's the Bahamas have actually launched one, the Jamaica, and then also Nigeria. And then also Sweden has 2, and this is why I say it's not that up to date, because they have launched one too. I think it was Sweden or Norway, maybe Bedridden can help me out. But anyway, all of them have failed. Why? Not because of the technology didn't work. It's because nobody wants it. The adoption rates were so low, and so some other ones have been canceled. Like in Senegal, adoption was low, canceled. In Ecuador, adoption was low, canceled. Right, but in China has they're still calling it a pilot, but it has been the biggest thriving CBDC around the world by far, by like 20x. The next biggest, which is I believe in Nigeria.
It's just a small update to how they currently already work their finances.
Right. And so, it's probably not going to have ramifications in the crypto market, right? But it is kind of interesting, and it's crypto adjacent, I would say.
It could lead to faster mass adoption. I still think there's a lot of people in the US that they're just not going to understand how to go full-blown crypto. They don't understand how they make purchases every day. I think that in China, you might see them going from fiat currency into crypto really easily. They're just going to be so used to using fiat, using CBDCs, and then when they're able to use Bitcoin or Ethereum or Solana or AVAX or whatever, it's just going to be really easy for them. So that's probably the one advantage there, I would say.
Yep. And that's going to conclude the majority of our news here. Yeah. We do have our factoid of the day. But we
Real
got
quick,
some great
we
names.
got to read these names. Yeah, we got to read some names here. If I were to start a group of some of the greatest bearded crypto people, there are some TA things in here. Zachary Martin said that is just Tim from the future. Let's see here. Beard Bros. Okay, we saw that one. Beards of Knowledge. We did that one. Beard to Bitcoin. Beard Juicers. Ugh, no, that's a no-go username. Beard Nuendo Crypto from BitNuendo. Okay, I see what you did there. Beard Bags. I don't know about that one. Beardo Bros. Bears, and Bulls. I think it meant beard or bears, beard. I don't know.
Beardtacular Bulls.
I don't know. The
Bros
beard bulls, the bullish beards. A lot of bull stuff in here. Hat with beard. Is that not probably already a meme coin on Solana?
Maybe.
There's hat with like everything else. Moonbeard's Bitcoin show. That's a mouthful. Beard coin, full beard pump. Keeping the family, investing beards.
I'm not sure if I'm saying this right, but Shimatrice said, I like whoever said bears, bulls, and beards. Yeah, that one's pretty good.
The triple
you don't see a lot of profile pictures with someone's face just like really zoomed in. I like that. More people should do that. I don't know if that's an AI face or a real face, but
beards of TA, bearded coin bros, bros with beard, bros with beard, a lot of bros with beard, beards with cap, TA beards legends. All right, we're going to probably cap it. I
think we have to move on. This is giving me
I think we got to move on, but I'm trying to I honestly think it's one of the first ones that I honestly liked the best. Which one was it? Beards of Knowledge. I liked Beards with Knowledge. It was Beards of Knowledge. We can change it to the WIF thing. Beards with Knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
So let everybody know. Guys, go spread the word on Twitter. If some of your favorite crypto analysts have glorious beards, let them know that we are assembling in the near future.
I love it.
Let's get into Factoid of the day, T-shirt.
Why don't we go ahead and get into the Factoid of the day? And it's brought to you by who we trust, which is iTrust Capital. You see it right above my beautiful hatted head, and bearded head every day. My beautiful bearded, hatted head every day. It is iTrust Capital. It's who we trust for our crypto IRAs and tax-advantaged accounts. Tim, in the year of our Lord, 2021, Tesla acquired a distribution center in Lathrop, California, and converted it into a battery plant called Mega Factory. And it was formerly...
Why would I know this? It acquired a distribution center. It literally could be anything. Like, this is just not... Oh, my gosh.
Think, Tim.
All right.
Use those logic brains.
I'm going to rule out Walmart.
Why?
J.C. Penney's have definitely been going out of business. I feel like Dollar Generals have done better. I feel like they don't need to sell their manufacturing mega factories because they have a lot of business. I think same with Walmart. I think it's between B and D.
Okay.
And I want to lead towards J.C. Penney. Is it saying that J.C. Penney is misspelled? Is that E on the back end not supposed to be there?
I have no idea. I'm not a big
We're
JCPenney
going to go with B, J.C. Penney.
All right. He's locking it in. J.C. Penney, and he is 100% correct.
Guys, my deductive reasoning
I'm impressed, genuinely. Tesla acquired a former J.C. Penney's, and that's how they spelled it on old Wikipedia, distribution center in Lathrop, California in 2001, and converted it into a battery plant called Mega Factory with a target capacity of 40 gigawatt years when finished. Now, I don't know what that means, but that sounds like a lot. Now, Tim, you didn't know what a mega pack was. This was one of the products of Tesla in our factoid yesterday. This is a mega pack. It's pretty cool, and it seems to be like very high industry applications.
Yeah.
Mega pack is designed for utilities and large-scale commercial projects. Our team of experts will help you design a system that meets your project goals and maximizes your site potential. And if you kind of scroll through their promotional page of this is just a gigantic battery for storing renewable energy. You can see them lined up there. So yeah, are you and I going to rush out and buy one of these mega packs?
Nope.
I might because I'm wildly wealthy. Just kidding.
Because you were top of your class.
I was top of my class.
In case people did not know, economic extraordinaire, this T-Shroom guy.
That's
Number
right.
one community college in the country.
That's right.
Led
In
by
the
Gary
nation.
Gensler.
That part's not right.
T-Shroom was the top student.
And I'm offended. But we're having
solid
fun.
B's.
But seriously, guys, we are heading into probably just more sideways, more boring price action. But at any moment, we could see a dip lower and then a price shoot higher. That's kind of what I'm expecting. Yeah. It's not my base case. Base case would be logic, and that's just kind of, sideways and downward until a very strong new bullish thesis kind of emerges, which we could see as early as May 1st with the FOMC decision, and as we learned about today with the bond market, the Treasury announcement both on the same day. So I'm expecting volatility, and I don't know yet to which side, up or down. But Tim, that's kind of my state of the market.
That's going to be it. Yeah, we're probably going to wrap it up here. We'll take a couple of questions. We're going to announce how you enter for the giveaway. Again, we've been growing so fast here recently. We were giving away $100 every time we hit a new 1,000 subscribers, because up until about a month ago or so, we were probably gaining 1,000 subscribers a month. We've gained like 4,000 in the last 28 days. So it's been a lot of chaos, and we're about to give away $100 for the people who got us to 14K, and we're already at 14.6, meaning we're probably going to have to do this giveaway again early next week or mid next week for 15,000. So stay tuned. I'm not going to tell you how to enter to win that just yet, but I'll start off by saying you do need to join our Discord. So, T-Shroom, this is what we can show them. If you guys are watching right now, share my screen here. You guys are just watching these two.
Whoa, that's a good-looking guy right there.
Yeah, this is Inception right here. Go ahead and go into the description. There's a lot of cool stuff here. iTrust Capital, Lux ALGO, Arculus. Again, if you guys want 10% on Arculus, you want to protect your crypto, use the code BROZ10 right there. BROZ10 for 10% off. There's a lot of cool things here, but what you definitely can do is I'm going to find it. Where we go? Okay, right here. Become a member. Right there. Click on that one. That's the wrong one. I hit the wrong one, guys. I deeply apologize. Why did I say become a member? You can become a member, but that's the wrong one. The investing Discord. Oh, this has been a rough one, teacher. Here we go. Right here. Click on this link. Free Investing Bros Discord. Boom. Click on it. It's going to take you to our Discord. Continue Discord. And then you guys get to come in here. And, all right. No, this is stupid. All right. Whatever. We're done. We're done with this. I'm going to just talk about it. Go in there. You're going to read a comment. I'm going to tell you guys what to comment here in just a couple of minutes. I will choose one lucky winner to get $100. We'll get your information and send you $100. So that is the rules on winning. Let's answer some questions here, T-Shroom. While people are putting things in chat, we saw a super chat way earlier. I do want to say thank you to Orlando Brancasio. I don't know how you say that. Brancasio? I don't know.
Brancasio.
I don't know what this is. This is definitely a shill, Orlando.
It's a meme coin of some kind.
We do not necessarily recommend it. We know nothing about it. But thank you for the £2 that you did donate to our channel. I saw somebody say that, remember earlier, T-Shirt, when I was talking about the charts and how when you see the rising channels, you should be a little bit concerned. When you see the falling channels, that's usually breaks bullish. He said, there was a comment, someone said, oh, if you had followed that rule back in April of 2022 when it was at 40K, you would have gotten wrecked. I disagree. I'm assuming what he's trying to look at is this little area of price action right in here back at 40,000, but that's not the channel. The channel is this, guys. The channel was higher highs and higher lows, and sure enough, it broke to the downside like it very much should have. So that was a miscorrection, whoever commented that one. This was a solid reason. And again, I'm telling you, it's not perfect. There's no such thing in investing, whether technical analysis or ways to read news. There is no thing. If you came to any crypto channel or any investing channel and said, give me a strategy that will win 100% of the times, that's literally nothing. There's no such strategy out there that will win 100% of the time.
Nancy
there
Pelosi.
Are strategies and things that work 70%, 80%. We have a lot of things we've actually done on this channel. I made a video on a trading strategy that for me is still hovering at about an 80 to 85% profitability, but there's no such thing as 100. But I will say this is one that is very consistent in these more macro movements. If there are rising channels, they usually break downward. And if there are descending channels, they usually break upwards. So just keep that in mind as you guys watch the charts. let's get in here and take a look at some questions in chat. Bowman said, so Tim, with the gym picking up again, how do you get those beard gains? That's a confusing question. So Tim, with the gym picking up again, how do you get those beard? I'll tell you what, the beard gains, probably got to thank my mom and dad for that. I think that's a genetic thing. If it is not a genetic thing, the other tactic is not to shave. Believe it or not, when you don't shave, hair grows. So that's one of my favorite strategies I've used to grow a beard. I am doing, I told people in our Discord, I'd gone a long time, T-Shroom. I was working on the evening. So I always try to work on the evenings, but a lot of times I have meetings or something after the live show.
Really?
And if I want to see Brody, my son, who has to go to bed at 7:30, I have to leave. Like I've probably in the last 2 months averaged maybe at best 2 workouts a week. And that's just stupid. I try to get at least 4 or 5. So I challenged, or I told our community in Discord, I don't know if you saw this, that I needed accountability to wake up early again because I just was being lazy, being a good-for-nothing lazy bum. And I said, listen, guys, you guys are keeping me accountable. Ask me every morning how my workout went because I'm going to wake up earlier and go to the gym. And every time I do not wake up, and we're talking about weekdays, Monday through Friday, every time I do not wake up and go to the gym, I will pay one of the people that asked me if I went to the gym $10. So day 1 of this challenge, no one got $10. I worked out this morning. If you guys want to join the challenge, go for it. You don't have to pay people. You just come in our Discord. If you just want accountability to work out or to do something else, that's what the group is for. The community is for. We talk crypto, we talk life, but also we talk accountability for Tim's gym participation. Should we dump our ADA, says TW? No, I don't think you should dump your TA. I think I said, earlier, I think Cardano easily could go back down to 40 cents, maybe even breach it, get into the 30s, but we're so close to that level. I'm not dumping my ADA. If anything, I'm going to add to that bag. Now, I love Cardano. You guys know I love Cardano. I am not going to lie to you guys and say that I think Cardano is the greatest investment in crypto. It's not. I only expect at this point, let's say I bought Cardano today or tomorrow, I think best case scenario, we're talking about 20x. And there's a lot of other coins I think that are going to do 20x easily and then start to push towards 30x. So if anyone thinks they should buy Cardano because that's the best investment in crypto, I'm not going to lie to you and say that's the right answer. I will say it is a good investment. I do believe in it long term. I do have a decent sized bag of ADA. And I'm not going to sell and try to buy back at 40 cents. I'm going to keep my current bag and potentially buy more at 40 cents. I also think it's funny, T-Shroom. I saw this happen actually frequently. Not just our channel, but I see other people all the time saying, these influencers are just shilling their bags. They're just telling you to buy what they hold. And it's like, so do you want us to tell you to buy things that we don't believe in buying? I don't know what people really want there. Yes, we are telling you to buy the coins that are in our bag because we put them in our bag thinking that they were going to be bullish, and we want you guys to make money too. We're going to get some of them wrong. Not every single coin we pick is going to make it, right? But if you lose money on any coin that we say that we think you should buy, well, we lost that same money too. So, yes, the way it works is you shill your bags. Why? Because you shill the things you believe in. That's actually how these things work. Anyone who thinks that that's the opposite, so you're asking for influencers to lie to you and not put their money where their mouth is. Let's think before we say things to people. What else do we have? Oh, Wild Deuce said, "Did you work out, Tim?" I did work out. I did. I told you guys I was successful today. Crypto meme, welcome. Even if you're late, we love this. A man without a beard is a woman, says XYZ.
That's pretty interesting.
No comment. I would love to know the coins that contact you asking you to promote them.
You would love to know that?
I'll tell you guys right now, there will be certain coins that we take promotions from because we do believe in them, but we're not going to take any coins we don't believe in. But the concept of, because there's going to be some coins that I actually even like that I probably won't take a sponsorship in just because I just don't want to risk it. But that's interesting because here's the thing. Here's what I will tell you. It is interesting to know what coins are reaching out to influencers to pay them to promote them. And the reason why is because the price is going to pump. If there's a campaign and influencers are getting reached out to and said, can you pump this coin? That coin is probably about to pump. So, yeah, it would be too much for me to tell you guys every single coin. We probably get daily emails from coins saying, hey, can we pay you to promote this token? And the majority of them are absolute crap. There are a couple of them I look into and I think it's cool.
Tell you what, but you become a diamond member on our YouTube membership. We can talk about it.
Yeah, diamond. If you become a diamond member, or if you get into our VIP trading group, which is like you buy Lux Algo, and you come in there and you're a trading group, I will let our VIP traders know what coins have been reaching out to promote us, and we'll tell you if we are going to be promoted by a coin or not, if we're going to allow one to sponsor us. But I'll tell you right now, almost every coin that reaches out has at least a short pump. And so to our VIP trading group, yeah, I'll let you guys know, hey, today I got reached out to by this coin, this coin, and this coin. And just, with a lot of affiliations I have, I do get early asks. So it's not like I'm like the back end. We have been blessed. Teacher and I have been blessed that even though our channel is like right around 15,000 subscribers, we have a lot of connections, relationships with some bigger players in the space. So we do get a lot of early access to some information.
Yeah. It's more complicated than Tim's making it sound very simple. It's definitely more complicated, but
it's not perfect. Look, it's not a perfect system.
Officially, don't start getting things twisted. On the Investing Bros, you tune in. We're going to tell you really good cryptos like Chainlink, like Solana, like Bitcoin, right? We're going to tell you the levels and to trade, and should you actually sell? Is there a structural issue with the blockchain? There were some pretty close calls within the last couple of years with Solana, right? That's where the Investing Bros come in, and we're worth our weight in gold. And other channels like us is like, no, actually, this is actually a pretty solid project. I didn't think it was a solid project. I thought it was going to go to crap, right? Tim stuck to his guns. He really liked it, and so it's a diversity, it's a community, and it's bros, it's bearded bros. And if you guys want information on who's shilling what, there's probably publications on that kind of stuff. But our community here is really just talking about the top 100, top maybe 200 coins, right? We were pretty early on CAS, but not definitely not the earliest. But we try to be early on some coins, but that's not really our game, right? We help to inform traders about the news and the levels on major top 100 coins.
We're going to wrap out with this question and then tell you how to win $100 in our Discord. Moho says, what time are you most active with your trading group? There's some days where there's not a whole lot of activity. Sometimes people are busy. I think right now there's probably about 15 of us in there. We definitely have room to grow. But I do every morning, especially during weekdays, get in there and give my overarching opinion on how the rest of the day is looking. And then if people, I know like there's a couple people that are pretty active. If people post their charts, I'll respond. I'll either tell them that is very solid TA and it looks really good, or I'll tell them, hey, you might want to reconsider and take a look at this. So again, I'll give feedback. I haven't had anyone take this up, but again, if someone were to put their portfolio or coins that they're interested in trading and say, Tim, what do you think about the next 21 days? What do you think about the next month? What do you think? I will give answers. It might not be the minute you post it in there, but I go in and out of Discord several times a day. I do have a job, like most people do. And I will answer probably all the way up until about 6, 7 p.m. And then I am spending time with my family, as most others are as well. But look for some big things. This week, we're not doing it. I had a meeting go in that was really weird. Next week, we are going to be adding, and I haven't chosen the day, but I'm leaning towards, I believe, Thursdays. Thursdays, I think we're going to start right after the live show, doing a live meeting with all the VIP traders. And we can talk strategies. We can talk upcoming trades. We can talk portfolios. We have a members-only chat on Wednesdays that serves as kind of like a deeper conversation, have fun. Like you just hang out and talk. We don't really just dive into all the charts all the time. But the Thursday one for our VIP members, the trading VIP members, it will be completely focused. The whole conversation will be on trades, strategies, thoughts about the market. So again, I see a couple people commenting. I want to join. I'll be a part of this. Yeah. Go get Lux Algo. Go purchase it. Guarantee you, if you're serious about trading, you will not regret purchasing Lux Algo. You'll get your money back and then some. You'll get into that VIB trading group, and we're going to have a blast. It is 4:19. We ran long. It is Friday. We'll see you guys tomorrow. On Saturday, we'll announce the winner to enter to win. There's you guys been waiting for it. Thank you for sticking around. Go into Discord general chat and comment Beards of Wisdom. Beards of Wisdom will get you an entry to potentially win $100. That's our code of the week. With that said, some of you guys will see you tomorrow morning for our Saturday 11 a.m. show. The rest of you will see you on Monday. Go touch some grass, hang out with family. Love you guys. Adi.
Oh.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor of the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shrooms news, got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.